Hello, I'm Sophiralou and welcome to my channel.
Hello guys and welcome to this week's video. Today we are going to do our Draw With Me video, which is very different from my usual work. I wanted to do something that portrayed a lot of emotions, just to get some different facial work in my work. This is just because I get fed up of drawing the same stuff all the time, so I like to draw sometimes like really extreme emotions to get myself out of the same rut. So this piece is just a piece of like someone kind of like ripping crystals out, and I'll explain a bit more about it in a minute, but for now I'm going to explain about the mediums I'm using. I'm using the Daylight Brownie mixed media pad, and I bought this a while back and I have a small one as well. I tried the small one out and the paper is so good, especially if you want to do like lots of heavy mediums like me. I use the Winsor & Newton drawing ink. This is the Indian ink. I use my Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolours, my Electroset Pro markers, a Posca white pen, and my Unipin fine liner as well. I believe that's all the equipment I used, and this is just an experimentation to get lots of mixed mediums together and to really have like a darker piece in my portfolio. You'll notice that with the Draw With Me segment I will range it from really light happy pieces to really dark pieces, and this is just so you've got a range in your portfolio. So for everyone asking, no, this is nothing to do with me. I just felt like drawing something very extreme and just very different from my usual work, and this just happened, and I think it's really good sometimes to step outside of your comfort zone. I did a few sketches in my sketchbook, which you'll see in my next sketchbook tour once that's finished. I'm working in more than one sketchbook at the moment, so I can work and practice with different mediums. So whichever sketchbook fills up first, I'll do a sketchbook tour with that when they're done. So please don't worry, there is another sketchbook tour coming, but I've been on and off working in my sketchbook. So you can see here I am lining with a Kurotaki Zig cartoonist nib, and I really enjoy working with this. It's really smooth once you can get it down and once you get the flow of it right, and I've gotten the hang of using this after my Inktober challenge. If you apply enough pressure, the ink can flow out extremely well, and the ink does last quite a while. You do have to refill quite a lot, but at the same time it's really smooth when it comes out. The only issue you can have is it does smudge because the ink is still wet, so you just have to apply very careful and be very patient, and as you know I'm not very patient, so I really should have left this ink to dry before I started applying the wet medium, but I was running out of daylight when I was doing this piece and running out of time, so I think there is a little bit of smudging which I managed to rectify most of it, but not all of it. So yeah, so this piece is, as I reiterated before, it is very different from my usual portfolio piece, and the reason was I was looking through my body of work, and a lot of my work has very relaxed expression or very gentle expressions. So what I do like to do is, after I've noticed a trend in my work, I try and step it up. So the next few Draw With Me's, you may notice I'm doing a lot more emotional stuff, and this is just to practice drawing different facial expressions. And this one's like, it's sort of crying, but it's not ugly crying, it's like halfway between, and I wanted a really pained expression, and just to get that across a lot in the piece. The whole idea with this one is like her emotions are like fighting to get out of her, so she's almost like ripping them out, and the emotions are represented by crystals, so they're like, as she's letting them free, it is painful, but at the same time the crystals are forming and they're very extreme, just to show that she's got a lot of emotion from within which is bursting to get out. So that's the whole idea of this piece, and you can, you know, interpret it the way you wish to, and mine was just really, I just wanted to draw an extreme expression. So for those asking, this piece and others are now available up on my store, Envy Store. There is a link down below in the description in case you are interested. I'll be taking print pre-orders very soon for the Echo and Location pieces, as well as the Legend of Zelda ones. This one, I don't know if I'll make it into a piece, just because there's a lot of imperfections within this, and I'll think about it. I'll take a photocopy of it, and I'll put it to one side and probably go back to it in the future. Maybe digitize this piece and redo. This one was just really so I could experiment with the mediums as well, and the mixed media pack to see how I could push the piece to its limits. So yeah. Is there anything that you guys like to draw? Like, you know, when you draw and you see that you guys get yourself like in a little rut, do you push yourself and try and do something different from your usual work? Or do you find inspiration from something else and try that? I'd be very interested in seeing what you're doing. And there's Bella making her obligatory appearance in the videos. It's every time I get the paintbrushes out, she's just got a thing for paintbrushes. So yeah, I'll have to see if she appears when I make the markers. If not, we'll have to force her to come into the videos. She's got this thing where she likes to climb over the desk while I'm doing my work. She's an absolute pain, but I love her to pieces. But no, I do want to use this as a segue into doing more emotional work and more different variation in facial expressions and body work. I mean, it's not perfect, but it does the job, if that makes any sense. It's not the worst I've done. It's better than the preliminary sketch, I feel. I just think that there's colour choices that I could have made which would have been better. I think what probably would have been better if I did more colour swatches for this. I knew I wanted the crystals to really stand out in her, against her, and I was going to do a darker skin tone, but I couldn't mix the skin tone correctly when I was doing it with markers. It just didn't, well, when I was trying out the markers, I couldn't, when I was doing my test pieces, I couldn't really get the pinkish hue where the paint, it looks like it's coming, you know, because where the skin would naturally redden. I couldn't get that to work, so I chose a lighter skin tone just so I could get that pink hue out. And this is just because I need to practice a lot more with darker skin tones anyway, and you'll notice I try and vary my skin tones as much as my work as possible. But I knew it just wasn't going to work for this piece because of my lack of, like practice with it, that's all. And you can see that it does smudge quite a bit, and this is because I've not left the ink long enough to dry. Unfortunately, this does happen when you are using the Indian ink, and ideally you need to leave it to dry for about an hour or so. So this is the Posca pen. I bought this to try out because a lot of people highly recommended the Posca pen, and I don't know what I think about it. It seems very liquidy in comparison to the gel pen, which can be good if you want to cover quite a large area, but it's not as vibrant until it dries. So you'll put it on and you'll think, oh, that's not as white as I wanted it, blah blah blah, and then you go back and look at it and go, oh, it's dried really well actually. And it's very interesting the way it works. I think I'm just not used to using it yet, so my experience with it may be very different to other people's experience, but I don't know, it works quite well. Now with the hair, now I have a fair few brown markers, but I don't have any in between colours, so it goes from one extreme to the other, or they're all very very close to each other. So I'm using my Wilkinson's like these spectrum colours, not Wilkinson's, WH Smith. And then I'm using that to make the blend between the very dark shade and the very light shade. So yeah, it's just trying to create that sort of blending between it. I mean, since I started doing YouTube, I've really put a lot more variation in my mixed media, which is something I never really did before. Whereas before I would only use just markers, or I would use just one medium. I found that since starting to do YouTube, or starting to do my channel really, I've experimented a lot more, which has been really good for me. So it's been very interesting, and I am experimenting with gouache at the moment, which I'm finding very difficult to use. But I think once I've gotten once I've had a bit more experience with it, I'll be more confident in doing like videos with it. It's like I've been doing using watercolors now for over a year, and I feel like I've gotten much better with the medium. Markers I've been using for a very long time, so I know what I'm doing with them. And the coloured pencils I only really started using a few months ago. So this is it. It's always experimenting with my work. I never really not experimenting with it, and I think that's really good, especially if you are going to try out. And I highly recommend that to constantly experiment with your work, constantly try and change it up, because it's gonna make your work much better, I feel. For those asking, are you interested in me doing any digital videos at all? Because I am primarily a digital artist over a traditional artist, and it doesn't seem that way with my videos. But would you guys be interested in seeing any stuff like that? If you let me know down in the comments below, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts about it, because I'm thinking of doing a lot more digital videos on this channel, just because it will help me get my work done as well, because I have to set aside time to be able to do these videos each week, and I just wanted to get something and be able to show you my other projects I work on as well. I mean, would you be interested in any comic tutorials, anything like that? Just let me know down in the comments down below. So I'm just finishing off this piece now, and as you can see, I'm using my white gel pen to just highlight points. The overall piece I'm happy with. There's some colour variation I wish I had chosen, but overall I think it's conveying what I wanted it to convey, and I'm pretty happy with that. And that's the most important thing, just feeling that little bit happier with your work. So I'm just going to give you a few close-ups of the piece, letting you know, seeing how it goes and everything, and I hope you guys like it. If you'd like to see more content from me, maybe subscribe to my little channel. If you wish to talk about the piece or talk about your work, feel free to comment down below. If you like this video, click that little like button, and if you want to see more, let me know what you want to see next, really. I hope you guys really have enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed working on it, and this piece will be available on my channel. See you later, guys, and stay creative. Bye.